Welcome to Empower You Crown Up podcast, where we believe in empowering minds to live empowered lives. Today, we have a special guest with us today, Miss Kenya Carr. Hi, Kenya. How are you?
No, I'm doing great, Brittany. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're excited to have you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and what made you perfect to come on our episode to empower the world, which is essentially you empowering the world with your business day in and day out. So,
Yes, yes, I like to think that I am. So thank you. So again, thank you for having me. I'd like to start off by saying I'm the proud mother of two boys.
oh,
Christopher is 16 and Noah is 13. I am an HR professional with over let's see, going into my 25th year of being an HR professional. I'm also a life coach and a health coach and a career coach.
okay.
Um,
Come on,
and
coach.
yes. So I have my own practice. It's called Life Chapters Coaching because we're always in a different chapter of our life.
Yes.
Even right now, we are writing our chapter as we are in it. So it's always about what is that chapter going to be about? And one thing we don't want to do is cut and paste our chapter 23 or 24 into our chapter 25. So
Right.
always looking to grow. And I'm also an author. So I have
Wow.
my memoir, which is called Battling the Flames. And I also have an
Mhm.
ebook, which is entitled My Top Five Secrets to Elevating Life's Next Chapter.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, yes. So when I heard about your podcast and Power Up, Crown Up, I was like, I'm all about empowering women
Yes.
to shift their mindset, transform their mindset, and elevate their personal power
Oh,
by
yes.
mastering habit change because you change your habits and you change your life. So
Yes.
I am on my journey too of mastering habit change. And I coach professional women over 40 that have crazy busy lives from careers. Some are married with children or divorced with children, co-parenting like me, and trying to also live a healthy lifestyle. And
Yes.
it's not about work-life balance, it's about work-life fit or work-life harmony. So I'm definitely helping women with that.
Yeah, I love that because it's just listening to you just makes you realize that, you made me think about growing up. I remember hearing the pastor and he was saying either you're going through something, you're getting ready to go through something, or you're coming out of something. And just hearing you makes it to where you should not be ashamed. Like wherever you are in your journey, don't be ashamed of that, to embrace it. Because what I realized on my journey is that when you start opening up and talking to
Mhm.
more women, they say, girl, I've been through that.
Yes.
Lean on your sister. Like you ain't alone and you feel like you're alone when you're going through things.
Yeah,
And it's like we just gotta open up. So I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know where this came from growing up, where people say, keep your business and don't
yeah.
talk to anybody about your business. No, it's you got to talk to the right person, have the right circle around you.
I totally agree. And there's powers in numbers, and we need each other to lift each other up, right? Because I can be talking about to someone about something I'm going through. And there is a place sometimes where it's shame because you don't want to go through what you're going through. And it's things that sometimes you don't have control over. And we as women, we like to be in control. And so when
Yes.
things are outside of our control, it's overwhelming and you don't want to always say that you can't handle it all, even though that's
Mhm.
what it is. You can't handle it all. And I like to talk about in my book, there's this appearance that we put on. It's
Yeah.
like we're trying to be on stage for everyone to see we've got it all together, while inside we're battling our flames, right? We're battling insecurities and fears and even a burning rage, right? And
Yes.
that battle is always with everyone thinking we've got it all together and we don't, right?
Mhm.
And inside we're turning. So the exterior appearance does not match what's going on
Mhm.
in
And
the
you
inner.
know who I thought about while you were saying that? I thought about Whitney Houston. She's coming to mind. And you know,
Mhm.
how many other celebrities? Because it's like when we're here, we're like, oh, we want to be there, but we don't know what that's like when you're living in that spotlight. And
Yeah.
it seems like you guys together, you know, her voice is amazing, but we had no idea her inner secrets and things that she was dealing with
Mhm.
internally.
Yeah, and the pressures and trying to make it because there's a level of expectation from a
Mhm.
mindset or from an upbringing, or you're expected to blah, 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 blah. And we care about what others think of us and expect of us, and instead of giving ourselves grace because we're all
Yeah.
human, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm what I will tell you, I am, and I say this with with being my authentic self. I'm not a big celebrity idol. I follow no one. I don't follow their lives. I follow my life because I'm trying to work
Yes.
me.
Hello. We are the
Right,
celebrity.
right. And so, but when I look at celebrities, all I see is another human being
That's right.
trying to make it just like I am. But what I
Yeah.
do is I focus on my life and where I'm trying to get to, because I'm not
That's
trying to be
right.
like anybody else but me. I'm not trying
I
to
don't want
anybody
it.
else but me. And that's enough pressure because I put a lot of pressure on myself. And that's another thing. We got to give ourselves grace,
Yes.
ourselves space, and not be so hard on ourselves for those high achievers that we are. But just slow down and breathe a little bit.
Yes. And I talked about that back in December. I went to Atlanta and spoke on at a conference, Author All Star, and we talked about breaking chains of mass authenticity. And I just really talked about the importance of us removing the mask, but
Yes.
also digging down to our childhood because
Mhm.
what we do in our adulthood a lot of times stems from our childhood.
Absolutely.
And then you're like, wait a minute, what? And I like how you said the cycle because that's what keeps you in the cycle, you know, depending on what your childhood is like or different experiences, and you just kind of go with the flow. So if you had a traumatic childhood, you don't know what it feels like to have peace. So you get in these relationships and you're thinking that's the norm, and it's not healthy. And
It's
you
not,
just, until you start talking to people and they're like, that's not okay.
not normal. You deserve more. You're worthy, and
But it's
you
not
are
until
enough.
you see that. And
Mhm.
that's why I love what you're doing with life coaching because, people see us and like you said, we put on that mask and people think that, oh, you got it together and this and another. But you're dealing with insecurities or you're dealing with, am I good enough? Or what are people gonna say? You
Absolutely.
know?
And
And
yeah,
yeah.
no, go ahead.
No,
I'm
go ahead. You're
sorry.
good.
But, and with the coaching, I always like to say, you can't take anyone where you have not gone or are not
Mm,
willing to go.
mm,
And I always say I've gone a lot of places in my almost 50 years. But what the beauty is in coaching is that you're on your own journey of life because you have not arrived yet. You never
right.
fully arrived, but then you're alongside someone else on their journey and you're helping them get to where they want to be, because up until this point they may or may not have tried a number of things, but something says I'm stuck. I can only go this far, and now I need some help. And the beautiful part about coaching is there's a level of vulnerability and humility from being a coach as well as the coachee, because a coach a coachee can speak to the coach and feel like there's no judgment, right? It's not
Mhm.
your friends or family that's like, oh, girl, you just need to do this, because we're tired of people that are not walking in our journey telling us what we should or shouldn't do. They're
Right.
not
Or they
living
don't look like us. Yeah.
that too, but they're not going through what we're going through. And in coaching, the coach doesn't show up as an expert. That's a consultant. A
Mm,
coach meets the client where they are at, and they just ask questions in a different way and they go deeper, because
mm,
it's about the client finding the solution, which is usually in them, versus the
right.
coach giving them all the play-by-play solutions. And that's empowering in itself,
It
right?
is.
Talk to somebody that you knows not going to judge you, and is skilled and knowing what to ask, and then you're having these ahas together. It's so beautiful. I love talking about it. I just got to that
Listening to
coaching clients
you,
tonight, and I'm just like on a high right now.
Listening to you is funny because as a mental health therapist, I talk to so many women, and that's one of the things that you learn when you are going through, well, learning to becoming a counselor, right? Is that you don't give solutions. You let the client come up with their own solutions. And so I'm laughing because one of my clients, I won't disclose her name, of course,
Right.
but she mentioned that she said, hey, she's talking to her husband. She's like, hey, I've been going to these counseling sessions and I realized, you're part of, my problem. And she was like, yeah. And she said he went left. Like he was like, you need to find another effing therapist.
Oh, wow.
And
So
she said,
it's the counselor's fault now.
yes. And she
Bringing
said, she was
bringing
like, no.
problems to the relationship.
And she said, no, actually, it's not her telling me. I felt this and now I'm realizing this. And
Mhm.
that felt empowering to know that she knows that I'm not being like, oh no, but hey, by asking those questions, she's starting to see mentally like, oh, I didn't realize I thought I was coming here for one reason, but really it's because of this. And how
Exactly.
many people do that when they come to life coaching thinking that they need it for finances, for example, but
Yes.
really it's the relationship deep inside that you had as a little kid. It could have been how you saw your
Absolutely.
parents spend money or something else completely different, inner healing.
Absolutely. You said it. It's something undercurrent that you have not tapped into. If anything, you pushed it away. You don't want to deal with it. And it
Right.
impacts many aspects of your life, including your relationships, how you parent, how you show up at work or you don't show
Yes.
up at work. Using your voice. One of my big things is, as I'm in the corporate America world, HR for as long as I said, my biggest thing about women is when you have a seat at the table, you use it. And if you don't, invite yourself if you haven't been invited. And when
Yes.
you're at that table, you use it. You
Mm,
up, you use your voice. There's one of my biggest triggers, especially as women. There's this thing that you've probably heard, or they might call it another term, is when we up speak, when you sound like you're asking a question but you're making a statement, and it
right.
takes away your power. Like you finish it and it's like this high pitch on the end, like you're not sure of yourself. And I'm always
Mm,
like, I'll listen for that, and I'm like, women, we gotta stop doing
you're
that.
right.
You lose
Hmm.
your power. You don't sound confident. You're like, I'm making a
Yes.
statement, but it really sounds like I'm asking a question, like I'm not sure. And
Right.
so, like, you
And
got.
that's all people want to see. If you're not sure, they're gonna walk right over you.
Absolutely, and your voice has power, not just in the words, but how you speak with conviction. And I think for me growing up, kind of that childhood, whatever trauma, whatever, and I say this in my book, I have a chapter on fear. It's just called Fear.
Mm,
And I talk about the things I didn't like about myself and insecurities. I didn't think I was, yeah, I
mm,
thought I was ugly. I thought I too muscular in the arms. Boys would think I was not like a girl and feminine enough. I didn't like my voice.
mm.
My voice was too squeaky. So you know what I did? I changed my voice.
Oh
I have
goodness.
it today. I think it works for me though, honestly. But because I didn't want people to think, I was too childish. What it was is I wanted people to take me seriously.
Right.
So I changed my tone and I have different, it's not monotone. And I've always spoken that way. And the only person who says you still sound speaker to me is my dad. And I just shoot him off. I just don't listen to my voice, but I'm like, I want to speak with power. So you don't look at me and go, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. No, when I
Right.
speak, there's a certain presence that I want to give off so that you will take what I'm saying seriously. So I would say
Right.
that's kind of the positive side, but as women, that empowerment is you got to use your voice,
That's
whatever.
right. Mm. I love that. And you made me think about how when you take the stage, there's some people they take the stage and they come and they're like, hi, and I'm like, okay. And I always be like, oh, when could I do that? I can, but what I've learned more than anything is to show up and be yourself. You know, I'll
Absolutely.
never forget I was preparing to go on stage, and this would have been like my second time being on a big stage. And this elder lady, she pulled me to the side. She said, "You ready to speak tomorrow?" I said, "Oh, I don't know." She said, "Well, are you planning to be somebody else, or are you gonna be yourself?" I was gonna be myself. She said, well, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. I said, you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm showing up. I'm gonna be me. So
Yes, I love that. And you brought up something. I did a last month, I did this training, it was a free training, and it was I'm gonna lose it. It was charisma styles.
mm,
And because I've been working on my speaking engagements and stuff, and I did this 5-day training, and there's like three different styles that we have, and there's like these different combinations, and you got to pay more to kind of go deep to see what yours is. And I'm like, I wonder what one I am, and given some examples. And one of the things I noticed part of the training was about how you show up when you're marketing and videos and stuff. And the one aha I had is when I'm in my head and I'm like practicing what I'm going to say, I show up less like myself. Like my
right.
energy is not there. Like I talk with my hands. You see,
Me
nothing
too. I'm
scripted.
like,
It's just coming out, right? And that's like I always say that's the God in me. Like if it's coming out, I'm like, "Ooh, that was good." I didn't know I was going to say that, but I'm never fearful of what's going to come out because even if there's a shift in the word, I'll catch it before it comes out. But I notice a difference of when I'm just being myself and speaking more freely than when I got all these scripted things. It's harder to show up
that's right.
like yourself with the energy and it's more reserved. And I'm like, but if you saw me in every day, you'd be like,
That's not
that's
how it's
not
up.
me. So it's like trying to figure out that.
But being yourself, that's how you get your clients. And your clients say, you know what, I like her. She's
Mhm,
for me.
mhm.
Because when we show up that other self, they're like, okay. Because they don't
They've
talk
seen
like
enough of
that,
that.
you
They
know?
don't trust that. Yeah. Being silly, serious, fire, all of that. It's like you don't
Yes.
get one side, you get all. And it's like, just what moves us, right? What moves us.
That's true. Well,
Mhm.
tell us, how can clients work with you and what does that look like?
Sure. So I have gotten clients different ways. One is just through a conversation. Getting to know people. I do marketing, which is its own journey.
Yes.
Also when I in book doing book signings, so I partner with a lot of the Barnes and Nobles and the tri-state, and I'll do a book signing, and I have a certain way that I sell my book. And I have gotten clients even from that when I talk about being a life and health coach, and some of them they're like, oh, really? I've been thinking about that. And so what I will do, regardless of how I connect with someone, I do what I call a discovery consultation. It is free.
Okay.
And it's between 30 minutes to 60 minutes. Sometimes I'll say 30 and it goes longer because I'm trying to see one, if there's a fit, just like
Right.
you, I'm sure you don't work with everybody.
No.
And so trying to see if there's a fit and what is it, what are their high level goals? Because one of our first sessions is we get really crystal clear on what the goals are and create SMART goals as the anchor. But in that first free consultation, they get to experience a little bit of what coaching is like. And a lot of clients have never had coaching. So that's one of the questions I ask is, have you ever had coaching?
That's right.
And so they have
They
that
gotta get ready.
right, what it is and what it is not, because you get asked questions is like people sometimes are not used to that because they're being used to being told what to do.
That's right.
And I like to say, like, I like to ask questions and go deeper to the why beneath the why and what your big MOFA is, your big motivating factor.
Yeah.
And as we're going through the coaching experience, if we're co-creating together whatever that action may be for them to try in between our sessions, because that's what it is about, exploring, getting curious. When you get stuck with questions I'm asking, then I will ask permission to give a suggestion. And only then, if they're comfortable with trying it, we've co-created that together and try it. With my health coaching aspect, I have a program. So I go through, I have 12 weeks with my client. Sometimes it's 3 months, 12 weeks, 24 weeks, 6 months. And it's a curated information each week. But the biggest thing is I meet my client where they're at. There may
Mhm.
be something for that week, but if they're having some challenges, we sit with those. What we start off with what's going well. Always start
Right.
off with a high note and then what the challenges are. And from there, the challenges are feedback. And that's when we get curious and go deeper. So I like to say I coach to the whole person.
I love that. And that's why your book. What's the name of your book again?
So my book is called
I remember Flame,
Battling the
but
Flames, Battling the Flames.
okay,
And
battling. Yes.
yes, and how that came up is I had gotten worked with a writing coach. So again, a coach who
That's
helped
right.
kept me accountable
Now I'm
to
learning. You get a
follow
coach
through.
for every area of your life, wherever you're trying to
Absolutely.
develop. Hmm.
Speaking coach, writing coach, business coach, life
Workout
coach,
coach,
finance coach,
fitness,
fitness
all
coach.
that.
Yeah, all of that. Um, and about 164 plus pages into the book, we came up with the title, and it actually was inspired from my best friend because I asked her, I said, how would you describe me? Because I feel at times I'm very frustrated and angry, which comes from my childhood and trauma.
Hmm.
And she said, I never think that about you. And she gave me a metaphor
Okay.
for fire. And she says there's different degrees of fire.
It
There's
is.
ember fires, it's just kind of smoldering, but if it's got the right spark, it'll start back up again. And then there's this blaze. And
That's
I was like, oh, that's perfect for metaphor because I'm all degrees. It just and so with my coach, we came up with the things that I went through in life and how I came out on the other side unscorched and like a
yes.
diamond, battling the flames because we're all battling our flames.
Yes. And you make me think about like parenting. I just said this not long ago, because I have four and three of them are boys. And I
Oh,
just said the other
yes.
day, hey, y'all, don't make me turn up.
Yep.
They're like,
Turn
okay, let
up.
me get it together.
Get fired because fire can be used to create and destroy. So you have to decide how to use it, right?
Right.
So yeah, I like to tell people. So I got if I can, I'd love to share what I say to potential
Go
customers.
ahead.
So if some and I definitely like it's one thing to write a book, another thing you got to sell it. That's the
Right.
important thing as an author is you can write it, it can be beautiful, but if you can't sell it,
You
then
might
it's
as well not wrote
the
it.
world, right? So when customers come in, wherever they're coming in for, I will say, hi, if they're coming into the bookstore, I say, hi, come over here, let me share. And I'll say, my name is Kenya Carr, and my book is about my personal journey. It's about life experiences that we've all gone through or may go through, from family struggles to career challenges, living single, dating, marriage, parenting, divorce, dating again too. And
Oh,
throughout
that's hard when you have kids too.
Exactly. No, that's a whole, we can write a book on that. And I do talk about that in the book too. And then I said throughout the book, I reference fire as a metaphor to describe how I felt about the experiences I went through, because fire can be used to create or destroy. So I had to decide what to do. Like me, do you sometimes feel internal conflict, fears, insecurities, or even a burning rage? Yeah.
Yeah,
And your battle is with always trying to appear like you're on stage for everyone to think you got it all together.
that's right.
Are we on the same page?
Yeah,
That is battling your flames.
that's right.
Through my story, I share life lessons unabashed and unashamed to bring about change, because we all
Yeah.
have a light, a fire inside of us. And no
Hmm.
matter what we go through, it's about never letting that light, that fire go out, but
Yeah.
rather letting others feel your heat and catch
Mm.
there too.
I
And
love that. And
yeah,
that's what me and my kids we implement that in their prayers as far as telling them, you want to allow your light to shine.
let
And I
it
need you to be that
shine.
difference maker when you go to school. Don't be like everybody else. God didn't call you to be like
Exactly.
everybody else.
He didn't call you to be like every you, I'm tired. You are your unique self. There's no
Yeah.
one else like you, right? And I like to say, if you are going to appear like you're on stage, like in corporate America,
Mm-hmm.
if you're on stage and everyone is looking at you, how are you going to show up?
Mm.
Right? You want to be a beacon of light to
That's
others, right?
right.
So that you encourage others to shine their light so damn bright.
That's right.
That's what it's about. Or let it shine bright, or whichever one it is, and never
Yeah.
dim your light for anyone.
Yes. And I had to learn that because, as you grow and you go through different stages of your life, some people be like, oh, you're too loud, or you're
Mhm.
this, or you're that. And I realized, no, you're just intimidated. I need to continue to show up and be myself because you're
Absolutely.
not dimming who you are. Right.
Exactly. 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 I learned this also, this beautiful quote. If they won't die for you. Don't let them live for you.
That
Okay.
reminds me of how the pastor said, hey, if they don't have a heaven or hell to put you in, then what does it even matter?
Right. Exactly. Why does it even matter, right?
Oh, I love it. So, what website or
Yes.
social media, what can they do to connect with you, our
Yes.
audience?
Thank you for that. So I have social media on Instagram, and my handle is life_chapters_coaching. Facebook is Life Chapters Coaching. And I have two websites, but I'll give you the first one, which is my personal branding website, where you can also find my book, Battling Flames.
Okay.
It's simple. It's www.kenyacarr,
Mhm.
Carr, Kenya like the country, KenyaCarr.com.
Okay.
And everything is in there, including access to my coaching business, which is, if you were to look it up separately, is www.lifechapterscoaching.com.
All right.
And like I said, I offer free consultations for people who are maybe not even sure where they're stuck, and but know that what they're doing is not helping them get to their desired state, and they're a place now where they are comfortable and confident to ask for help. Because we
Oh,
never get anywhere in this world by ourselves.
that's right. That's so true. And I think people are starting to finally realize that with business and everything, we're so much better if we all work together.
Absolutely, and get the help. All, what is it saying? Rising, all, I can't, I always miss this up, but ship, something about rises, a tide rises all boats or something like that. It lift each other. I can't think of it right now. I'm tired.
It's
But
okay. Yeah, you and me both.
not a
But as
quote.
we end, what words of empowerment would you leave for our audience today?
Well, I'll give one more quote, and it's by my virtual coach, Lisa Nichols.
Okay.
And it is, mediocrity is overcrowded. If you
Mm.
rise to excellence, there is plenty of space.
Mm.
So keep going after what you want. Establish your non-negotiables
Yes.
and do it scared, because that's how you grow. That is the only way to grow.
Oh, yes. I love that.
Mhm.
And that alone gives people the courage to, move on, whether it's in a relationship or friendship that's run its course. Because when you know your worth and you know what you stand for, you're no longer going to allow that to pull you down. I always
Absolutely.
envision, you're climbing to the top and people just pulling on your leg. You got this dead weight. You got to shake it out.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And then you
Shake.
can get to the top free and you'll be
Yeah.
happy.
Yes, that peace and joy that comes within will show up more for you once you recognize, right? But I also like to say is, people will change when they're ready to change. And part of it is when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Mm,
and you're tired of the suffering and the pain,
that's where you're
you've seen it
changing.
enough times to go, okay, now I'm recognizing it and I've had enough. Then you
Yes,
change. Then you'll change your circle. You'll get you'll get filled up. You'll start filling your cup up so much that it's pouring into your saucer. And from your
right.
saucer, you will serve. Okay. But we have to go through the experiences to, no one can tell us, oh, we got to go through it. We got to go
That's
through those
right.
flames, right? But the important thing is whether you live a good life or a bad life, is how well you walk through the flames. And we
That's
got to work
right.
on walking well through them so that we come out unscorched.
Yeah, like Daniel in the Lion's Den.
There you go. Exactly, like Danielle.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Kenya, for being on our show today. And we look forward to definitely having you on again.
Oh, I would love that, Brittany. And thank you for having me. I enjoyed this conversation.
You're welcome. Well, thank you so much, and you have a good night.
You as